Today I wanted to show you a little something different. Now, you can go the expensive route with this meal, or you can go the cheap route, your choice. Today I'm going to show you the cheap route because this is what I have for ingredients in my house. Alright, but either way, number one rule is good food still takes time. Alright, let's get to it. So, as you can see here, I've got a whole bunch of ingredients to start off with, and a couple of pans. Alright. We're going to start with the ground beef, olive oil. And of course, beef has its own oil, so grease actually. But I always add this just to give it that a little extra flavor. So I almost forgot to tell you, the recipe I'm doing today is normally called Tater Tot hot dish, but I don't have tater tots, so it usually comes out pretty good without the tater tots. First thing you're going to want to do is preheat your oven to 350 degrees. That way it's ready and set to go when you are ready and set to go. Okay, now that I've got the oil in my pan, I'm going to show you. This is usually the type of burger that we like to use. Can you see the percentage and everything? There we go. That's better. Alright. You only need 1 pound of burger. Sorry about that, I had to throw it away. Alright, so above me on that, we usually use seasoned salt because we are not huge fans of, well, meat flavoring, so I usually add a good portion of this stuff. Sprinkle it across, pretty decent. Now these are our average seasonings. Ground pepper. I'll show you the tag on this one, but I still haven't labeled it. Garlic powder. Because we're already using seasoned salt, it's not really necessary to go overboard with salts. So we do a lot of powders. This one is onion powder. Alright. Set those aside for now, because, well, I'm going to need the seasoned salt later, but I'm not going to need the others. While that's cooking on medium heat, I'm going to get my corn ready. Now you can use frozen corn, I'm sure. You don't need more than a can of corn's worth, okay? Make sure you drain it off. Okay, follow me. So, I've got your average baking size cake pan. And I'm just going to put my corn just enough on the bottom to layer it nicely. Later on, when the burger is browned, we're going to put that on top of it and mix the two together. Okay, so I also used mashed potatoes over top of the burger. So you can use real potatoes if you want. That's up to you. Once again, I'm currently on a budget. So what I'm going to use is the Insta mashed potatoes. Okay. And I'm going to have to use a 10 helping portion for the average cake size pan, okay? So that you're going to add the 8 and the 2 portion to make your 10, okay? So I've got my 5 tablespoons of butter that I'm going to need for this. It's been a while since I've had to do these. Okay, it says 2/3 cup on the 2 serving and 2 2/3 cup on the 8 serving. So add that together. What do we get? 3 1/3 cup of water. Alright. Sounds like the burger's starting to cook. That's good. Okay, and it also says we need salt. So on the 2 side is a 1/4 teaspoon, and on the 8 side is a teaspoon. And I currently have those laid out right here. Oh, the oven's ready to go. Sorry, I had to get my pour spout ready. So, 1 teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon. There we go. Okay. Let's get that going. We can set those aside for now. Spatula. Okay. So, now that the burger's starting to cook, we're just gonna cut it up as it cooks so that it browns everything perfectly, and we can spread it in the bottom of the pan. Okay? Don't forget, before you mix your stuff together as far as your burger goes, make sure you drain off the grease. Trust me, you don't want this thing greasy. So this is a recipe my mom taught me a long time ago when I was younger. It's a very simple recipe. It can be very cheap if you need it to be, or it can be more expensive. She always called it tater tot hot dish because on the very top you put tater tots and then you bake it. Unfortunately, I don't have the tater tots, so what we're doing is just making a modification of my mom's recipe. And then to boot, I think I add a bit more seasoning than my mom does, and sometimes I like to dress it up if I don't have the tater tots but I have the extra cheese. I might top it off with more than 1 cheese. Does that make sense? Alright, so I wanted to show you what the burger looks like when it's done. This is what you should be seeing. Oop. Sorry. Almost lost my camera there for a second. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna drain it off and then we'll add it to the corn. Alright. I'm gonna grab the burger. Be right back. You're just going to mix that corn right with that burger. This is your bottom layer. After this, we'll add the mashed potatoes, and then the cheese, and the seasoned salt right on top of all that yummy stuff. Your kids, if they don't like corn, they'll like it mixed in with this. This is one of my kids' more favorite recipes from our past history. And I know my family has always loved this recipe ever since my parents taught it to me. So hopefully you can make it a good memory for your family too. So mashed potatoes are nice and steamy, hot and boiling. And it basically says heat to a boil, remove from heat. I'm just going to slide this puppy over a little bit. Okay, and let's see. Milk, we need a 1/3 cup of milk on the 2 servings, 1 1/3 cup on the 8 servings. So a 1/3 cup and 1 1/3 cup would be what? 1 2/3 cup, right? Bonus side for me is this measuring cup actually has measurements, so I can cheat. Just a little bit. All right. And on the potato side, it's 2 2/3 cup on the 8 servings and 2/3 cup on the 2 servings. So we're looking at, once again, 3 1/3 cup serving. Of the potatoes, if I can get it to come out of the box. Here, maybe we'll pull the flap out of the way. That might help. Oh, there we go. Just gotta be smarter than the box. 1, 2, 3, 1/3 cup. And I always go just a tad extra. We like our mashed potatoes extra thick. At least when I'm doing it this way. When I do the homemade mashed potatoes, it's a whole nother story. Alright, set those aside for the time being. Let's go ahead and stir these up. I don't know about you guys, but for mashed potatoes, because they like to stick to spoons, I really like to use the slotted spoons. It kind of helps the sliding off process, if you know what I mean. Okay. Just make sure you get it mixed in there really, really well. Don't want any powder mashed potatoes coming out, you know. It's bad enough having to go this route, but you don't want to have to taste it. trust me, even though I'm doing this the cheaper way, it's still gonna come out a really awesome meal, okay? Alright, so I brought it back over to the table where we've got our hamburger and corn mix. We're just gonna plop our potatoes right on top. And it really helps if you just do it in different little piles and sections, because you're gonna mash it over top. Flatten it up the best you can so that we can add our cheese and seasoned salt. And like I said before, you would normally add like a tater tot on top and then bake it, the usual instructions, but I don't have any tater tots. So we're just doing the cheap and cheesy way now. Get on there. Oh, here we go. There's some mashies. I'm like, what? Okay, there's that. I'm going to set this over here in my lovely sink. Now, the great thing is I've already got these done. So, as you lay them down, you can use them to flatten out your mashed potatoes. Something else to keep in mind when you're doing this, you want your cheese to go from one side of the dish to the other as best as possible. So, breaking it up in little bits to help piece it together is a good idea, trust me. If you're using real cheese, it doesn't melt as well as you would like it to. If you're using Velveeta like my mom always used, then well, it melts pretty well and there's not really too many issues on that factor, but okay, so now that we've got everything topped off, and I'll show you what I got going on here. Nice and pretty. Like a puzzle. Alright. Just going to add a little seasoned salt for flavor. And I usually like to get a decent coat on top. Now we're gonna put it in the oven. 350 for 30 minutes. Okay? And that doesn't really cook it per se, because you're not really looking to cook it. You're looking to melt the cheese and get it to brown up a little. Once again, adding flavor. Right. Timer set for 30 minutes, and I'll show you what I got when it's done. Okay, so our timer is just about ready to go off. Just gonna hit the cancel button. This is that beautiful, beautiful hot dish. Now if we had tater tots on top, you would still see a nice brown tater tot with a brown cheese. And it would taste slightly different, just so you know. But really, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. Alright guys, you have a great night. I'll talk to you later.